Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima, and I'm here checking out Pro Yakyu Spirits 2012. That's the Japanese title, but as you can see there, they actually bothered to give it the, let me turn off my speakers real quick, there we go. As you can see, they gave it the Professional Baseball Spirits subtitle there, so I'm just gonna call it Pro Yakyu Spirits, because that's what I'm used to calling it. But, other than that, well, here we are. So, this wasn't actually at the top of the list of games to do an idiot imports on, but when I heard that GQ Powerful Pro Yakyu 2018 will be coming to Vita, and not like PS4 and Switch like I originally assumed it was going to be, I actually was really happy, because I didn't think we were going to get another Pro Yakyu game on Vita, because, you know, it's getting closer to the end of its lifespan in Japan than it is, you know, already gone everywhere else. So, this is actually, like, really good. I'm actually quite happy about this, but that means that I felt like celebrating a little, so I thought I'd come and check out one of the Pro Yakyu Spirits games I've got. For those of you who don't know, Pro Yakyu Spirits and GQ Powerful Pro Yakyu are made by the same people, run on the same engine, as far as I'm aware, and have basically the same gameplay, just with different modes, which we'll get to shortly. So, I figured I'd come and just have a look at this one, because I've always been curious how this set of games play in comparison. The only downside is that it's the 2012 version. These games go all the way up to 2015, and they haven't released one since then, which is actually kind of weird, because they have released, well, they're going to have to release, like, they'll have released 2 since the 2015 game. And you might be wondering, well, why the hell are you playing the 2012 version instead of like 2013, 2014, or 2015? 2015 is impossible to fucking get at any less than something like 400 Australian. No, that's not me kidding. It is seriously that expensive, because they haven't released another game since then. And even 2012, like, I got 2012 like a year and a half ago, and it's just been sitting in my drawer because I got it from like Play Asia. And it's been sitting in my drawer for the longest amount of time, and I went to see if you could still get it on Play Asia. Nope. Thankfully, you can get it pre-owned if you want to do it like that, but yeah, just FYI, these games are kind of hard to come by. So, we'll have a quick look around first. We have the options menu here, which has a fair amount of basic things. You can check the overall lineup of everybody on every team, which is nice. You can come here to check all of their individual stats. Now, I know this is going to be a little bit concerning here with all the translations and stuff like that, and I'm here to tell you that it's not as big of a deal as you might think, because there's a website called spiritstranslation.com, and they do full translations of like all the stats, all the modes, all the things you could possibly need to know in order to play this game. So, I know some of these, which is not very good, but I know, the middle column, the first 2 are right hand and left hand hitting strength. Then there's things like speed, and you got all your little areas down there, which is their individual competencies in different positions on the field. You got all your stats in the bottom left there. It's all pretty easy to get your head around when you look at that website. I've actually been looking at that website a lot. You've also got all the individual kinds of like pitches and the stats for all their pitches and all their special skills over on the right there. The pink ones are good, the purple ones are good, the purple ones are bad, I should say, and the green ones are your computer skills, so the computer knows how to play these characters, which again is a nice thing to have in this sort of game, in comparison to the other games as well. Down here, this is a password screen for getting special players. This one here is your created players, I believe. You can come here to edit them. I won't be doing that for now, because there's no real need to. Over here we have, I believe, yeah, this is the cheering song section, just like in Pro Yakyu, Powerful Pro Yakyu. So, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to load a sample instead of making the effort to actually go and use it. But as you can see, you can add drums, you can add notes, and you can add voice samples on the very bottom track there that's currently completely empty. I still think this whole system is just ridiculous. I do think this is great, and the fact that you can edit your own cheering song to play in the background of your team is amazing. I honestly have no idea what this screen does. So let's just back out of that. This is the user settings. So it works the same way as it does in Power Pro, where you can have settings on an easy, normal, or hard difficulty, or you can come and you can modify them individually. There's a few settings here that I recognize, like this one here. These settings here are whether or not to use the D-pad or the analog stick. This one here is the computer difficulty. This is the pick speed, so the faster it is, the harder it is to play the game. That also affects some of the rewards you get. And there's a few other things here which I don't recognize off the top of my head, but the Spirit's translation website does have them, and you do also have a fuller settings screen with a ton of extra settings going on, which is, seriously, the amount of settings you can change in this game is ridiculous. This option here is your sound settings. Plenty of them. Save and load, and I believe that one was go back to the title screen. No, credits. Sorry, it was the credits. Which I have managed to hit accidentally twice in these bloody games. If I could just, like, skip out of this, that would be great. Yeah, there we go. I saw it fade out. So let's go back into the main menu again. You've got a shop that you can go to that you get points for by playing through the game and just doing things, and you can spend them here to get things like extra settings, extra players, and all of that. Nothing particularly over the top. You've got ad hoc play between two Vitas. You've got online play, which is a shutdown as far as I'm aware. And you've got PlayStation Vita exclusive feature here, which is the community, which you can use ad hoc tech to do things like exchange players. The 4 modes in the middle are our main gameplay modes, and these 3 modes here are our basic modes. We'll go over them in just a bit. You've got a tutorial mode, which will teach you all of the controls and stuff for all 4 of the different roles you can play, which is nice. And you've got basic practice here, which is, you know, absolutely fine by me. You've got just play a regular exhibition match, which we might do just to break up the monotony a little. You've got the home run challenge, which you can use to earn points, and if you get a high enough chain of home runs in a row, you'll actually get a bonus player. And then you've got Spirits mode, which is the most interesting of all. So, Spirits mode is how you create your custom players. This game has custom players just like Power Pro Baseball, where you can play any one of 3 different kinds of modes. You've got Versus Challenge, Team Challenge, and Card Challenge. Now, we're going to play Team Challenge, but I'll go over the other 2 modes just for now so that you don't know exactly what they are. So, Versus Challenge is a bit of a one-on-one sort of thing, where either you play as a pitcher or a batter, and you have to go up against individual other players, and if you beat them, you get a bit of a stat boost. But if you don't beat them, you'll get a strike, and 3 strikes and you're out, obviously, which is an interesting way to level up a character. Card Challenge is like playing hands of poker. You get the same number or the same stat, and you get boosts to those stats, and we'll get into what the stats are shortly, because we'll need to for Team Challenge. And you also get things like different numbers and stuff, and you also have a thing at the end where you can pick what card you want out of like 15 to get flipped over and shuffled, so you have to keep an eye on the cards you want. And you use that to create a player. Now, Team Challenge is the most interesting of all, because it means you literally take on a team, and you use that to build a character. So, a couple of things here. You've got your names and the things I'll display on the back of your jersey and all that. You've got voice banks. These are voice banks. You've got different stats you can set, like their age, how many years they've been in the game, their birth date, where they're from, yada yada yada. This is where you can come to select their general style, or not their general style, their play style. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set a second baseman, and this is where you can come to change their look. However, I'm not going to play too much around with that. I'm just going to hit, not this one, I think it's, yeah, this one. So you can see that there's a lot of different kinds of faces. Their facial engine is very reasonable. Like, it has a fair amount of options and stuff like that for the 2012 version. I've heard it got better in 2013, 14, 15, but yeah, we're playing 2012, not much I can do about that. Notably, you will maintain the same set of things, the same set of like presets. It will keep the same name, the same thing on the back, the same voice pack and stuff like that, just so you can go through these screens a little bit quicker. But once you get to the end of the game, you do get another opportunity to customize them until so they fall into your roster. So Here's the stats upgrade screen for making your players. We can level him up using our stat points over here a bit. These are just basic stats. You can also use fire points to upgrade big skills, but we don't have the points for that right now. And we get more points for this system via playing through games and doing well in them, so we don't need to worry about that just yet. This guy is a second baseman, so we probably want to try and upgrade his second baseman level to something respectable. But you can see they've all got lots of different skills and stuff like that. And you can hit the square. Was it the... No, square is the undo button. You can look down the bottom there to see what all the skills do, but translating these is sometimes a bit of a pain in the ass, which is a little unfortunate. You do also need your stats to be a specific level in order to get to a specific set of skills. So we can come here to change like our difficulty. And this is our pitch speed, obviously. The higher you have the pitch speed, the more points you get out of it, which is a nice little tweak, I think. You can see your style. I don't think this is the one I want to go into. But yeah, basically, let's just head straight into a match, shall we? You get 3 matches, and that determines what points you get. You can come here. This is your initial setup screen here. So you can change who's in what position. You can see their conditions and all that. And I can actually, like, swap them out. So say I wanted to swap out our first baseman for another baseman, but unfortunately I don't think I have another baseman who'll be able to do the trick. I can swap myself out if I like, which is a bit silly, but we won't do that. So, Team Challenge is it's just a full-on game. Like, it goes for, I think, 3 innings, which keeps the games, it's either 3 or 6. And either way, it'll keep the games nice and quick. So, here we are with pitching. Pitching is pretty simple to understand. You can swap between your different pitches with the R button, and you can hold it there in order to get a maximum power pitch. And the pitches, while you can't see the actual names of the pitches, I'm going to sneeze in a few seconds, by the way. While you can't see the actual names of the pitches, they will cooperate with you by being on the direction that they say they are. So let's just say I pick the pitch that goes to the left here. See? It goes to the left. It calls to the left. Pitching in this game is fairly simple, although this might be because I'm playing on the easy mode. So the basic idea is you just got to press at the right timing in order to get a perfect pitch, and you can be off on this pitch, so I was just being as close to the timing as possible. The timing's pretty easy to pick up though. You just press the X button when it flashes red. So let's actually play against another pitcher. If you don't know what the game of baseball is, it's pretty simple. You gotta try, the pitcher has to try and get the ball past the batter, and if he does that 3 times via strikes in that little strike zone there, which is the white box there, he's out. If he throws outside of that white box and the player swings for it, it also counts as a strike. But if he doesn't swing for it, that's a ball. And 4 balls means he has to walk to the next plate. I hope I'm not boring too many people with the explanation of baseball. See, I threw it outside the box there, but I got a strike for it because he swung for it. 3 outs and the team swap over. If the player on the bat hits the ball there like that, he has to try and run for it. But if we manage to get it to a base before he can get there, he's out. And basically just repeat like that. 3 outs and the team switch. And it goes like that for the full amount of innings that the game will go for. That's pretty much it, really. I mean, there are, of course, other, like, more complicated rules. That guy's getting a lot of attention today. So, that is pretty much it for the rules. There are a couple of other things, like, you saw that little weird red and blue meter down there, and that's the meter that shows you how much the pitcher is used to a specific speed. So now he's gotten used to that, we can swap the pitch out, and we'll be more likely to catch him off guard with this pitch because it's a slower pitch. Foul ball, because it went behind the lines there. And he's out, so we get the swap. Yeah, it's a 3-inning game, thank God, because I didn't want a particularly long game to start off with. Here's what hitting looks like. You can press X to hit a stronger hit, or circle to hit the less strong left-handed hit. And once you hit the ball, you use the square button to determine whether or not you want him to run to the next base. Triangle to make him run away. You can do this while you're batting here in order to make them run early, but they can be caught out if you don't hit the ball. I hit that ball really high, so I don't think that's going to happen unless he drops it. No, that's an out for me, unfortunately. You can press the R button to get a more precise hit. You can see the sweet spot of the bat there, which I completely fucked up there, unfortunately, but I actually managed to get him on base. Nice. You can actually tap the shoulder buttons in order to get them to run faster, which is surprisingly arcadey and a more realistic sim, but at the same time, I don't think it's meant to be realistic because it's more a one-to-one iteration, more than one-to-one copy of Power Pro Baseball, which is a, which is a thing. There are, of course, plenty of other more enhanced mechanics going on, like the special skills, which will determine where the sweet spot on the bat is, where the sweet spot for the pitches are, where the how the stamina works. You can see that the pitcher has a stamina meter there, and the lower it gets, the worse he gets at pitching. Wow, I can't believe he missed that. Good old error correction. There's a stat for that. There's a stat for everything in this game. And if you really want to get into the, if you really want to get into how deep this series is, there is just a massive amount of stuff. Gotcha. Let's just hope he doesn't catch that. He caught it. Unfortunately, I don't get the run because if it's on the third out, it doesn't count for the run. So we go back to pitching. And this is pretty much it. This is baseball. Like, if you've even remotely seen baseball before, I don't know what you expect. But I like the gameplay in this game a lot more than I expected to back when I got the original Power Pro Baseball. And by the original, I mean the 2016 game. Get back to first base quickly. No, he's not. He's going to make it. That's unfortunate. But yeah, I liked the gameplay when I played the 2016 game, and I still like it here. It's very arcadey, but it's still surprisingly enjoyable. It's fast-paced or slow-paced, it's however you want it, because the game gives you a ridiculous amount of options to play around with, and this actually comes into play with some of the other modes later on. You can play the game as easy or as hard as you want to. You can do all sorts of little things to customize your experience, and the actual gameplay itself with the pitching and the batting and all that, it's all really smooth and really enjoyable. I mean, they've literally been working on this series for fucking years, so one would hope that they have a good grasp on everything. You're out, you son of a bitch. No, you don't. Nope, you're not going that way either. I'm going to tap you with it. There you go, he's out. Fuck him. Unfortunately, they did get a run off that, so yeah. We picked our team, and unfortunately, the Dana Bay Stars is usually the team I go for in these games, so I picked it in this one and it's working against me. I shouldn't have done that pitch because he's used to it, so let's throw it low and hope he misses. Yep, he missed. Thank God. And for the last one, we'll do a full power fastball in the top right corner, and he got it, but it's a fly ball, so I can just stand under it and catch. Thank God he actually got that. But anyway, the graphics aren't particularly impressive though, and that's probably because I'm playing the 2012 version. I imagine the 2015 version is a lot better than this. Mainly because the 2012 version obviously came out when the Vita started, and it was still on PSP at the time. So, yeah, you can see why they had a little bit of trouble. I wasn't going to get that. Let's go for the wide hit here, just to make sure I can actually hit this, because as you can see, this guy's probably got the trait. Fuck. This guy's probably got the trait that his sweet spot gets smaller once he's at 2 strikes, which is a really annoying trait to have and very easy to get when you're creating your own characters. So, kind of sucks, but there you go. But yeah, obviously the game doesn't look particularly great, but it's serviceable enough. I'm really not going to complain about the graphics because it looks perfectly fine. It doesn't look great when blown up onto like a 17-inch screen like I've got here, but on the Vita's 5-inch screen, wow, that was a horrible hit. On the Vita's 5-inch screen, it's absolutely fine. Right, so I have to try and avoid getting... avoid them getting a run as much as possible in this inning, because if I don't, I'm just going to make it all that harder for myself. Game's got a fair bit of strategy as well, like obviously you can change where your defenders are in this little screen here. And if you hit the start button, you can use these menu options to do things like check your lineup, that coach says nothing useful, change your settings in here, change your lineup of pitchers and fielders and what have you, and your batters and everything. So if your pitcher's getting tired, you'll probably want to swap them out towards the final set of innings, and you get the general idea. It's meant to be a realistic baseball game, and that's exactly what it does. So it's got pretty much everything you would expect. Fun gameplay, lots of depth, and considering that you can make your own players to play the game as well, it just makes it all that more interesting. And there's a bunch of other modes we haven't gone to yet as well. So, you know, if you're here for the game, if you're here for the gameplay, if you're here just for the baseball, you will probably be fine. And if you can find a copy of this, oh fuck you, damn it, he started running and damn, if I throw it up to second base, that's my dog going off and a plane going over at exactly the same time, which means that's going to sound really loud in a few seconds, and I apologize for this, but not much I can do about it because I don't live in a soundproof room. Got the ball there, unfortunately. Strike! I like the commentators too. They always sound like they're enjoying their job and what they do, but you know, I can't understand them, but if anything, that's a good thing, mainly because, since I can't understand them, the commentary never gets repetitive, which is nice. Okay, they've made a couple of changes to their defenders, and now it's my turn to bat. I need to get at least one run, which shouldn't be too hard, but, well, I fucked it up twice already, so might be harder than it looks. Come on, make it easy for me. Nope. And unfortunately, we've lost our sweet spot, so let's try and... There we go. Bit high, and he's going to catch it. Damn it. Throw that ball. Bit high for me there. Throw that ball. Nope, I've sent it up high again. And he caught it. Really not doing too well. Little split screen camera there to up the tension a little bit. That's what I'm talking about. Right, not going to make it to the second one, but I will make it to the first base. Fine by me. Gives me another shot at... Gives me another player who actually has a massive sweet spot. Damn it. Right. Gotta hit this one. Damn it! Alright, I guess I lost. Ah, that sucks. Alright, but you get to see how Team Challenge here works. We didn't do particularly well, but we got some stat upgrades, a positive and negative skill, and we leveled up a couple of players. So yeah, as we can see, we have a few more stats than we did before, but obviously you need to win matches if you want to stand a chance. So let's just back out of this. The game does save the player that you're going through, so if you don't want to do the entirety of a versus challenge, which is actually like 100 people, you have to beat 100 people in a row to get a full success in that game. You know, you can do that. You do also have the option to awaken your players here, which is kind of neat. So if you get a player and you're not particularly happy with their stats, what you can do is you can actually choose to awaken them. And when you awaken them, it will give you a bunch of things that you can do here to give them massive increases to their stats. You get a limited amount of these depending on the player. And you also have special things here that'll give you like massive stat boosts and stuff like that. So yeah, you get the general idea basically. You do that until they're all spent, and then you can equip these points here. I'm not going to bother doing it. And that just gives you at least a relatively balanced player if you ended up with a really bad one. Although I think awakened players can't be used in certain modes. There might be some sort of thing going on there with that. Right, so we've got 4 modes here. These are the 4 main modes of the game. We're not going to be playing any of the top 3 outside of me just going in and showing you the menus and letting you see what they look like. We're going to be playing the 4th one, but we'll start with the top. This is the pennant mode, which is literally just the Japanese pennant. And it's basically, you take a team, you buy players, you trade players, you train players, and you try and you win the Japanese Baseball League. Also known as the NPL, I think they call it. You have your calendar here, where you can see all the matches you have to play. You can see the scores over on the right there. And this is your menu where you come to do things like change your lineup, look for new players, and trade players and stuff like that. So I can actually look for a player of a certain kind here. So say I wanted to look for a first baseman. It'll let me come back to that after a match or a few. And here you can come here to trade a certain set of players with another certain set of players. So I can give him an 89 star player for an 82 star player. Those stars don't actually matter until we get into Grand Prix mode. But yeah, these are all your options for your thing. And the Spirit Translation website, again, has full translations of everything here. So if you want to go through this mode here, you can do that. Pennants are full 9-inning games. You can also play them in pretty much any way you like. So if I were to select this, you can see that you can set up all your stuff there. And you can also change what's called the, I can't remember exactly what they call these, are the ledger modes, where you can actually choose what games in the mode you want to play, which is actually kind of nice because it means that you can play through an entire pennant in a lot faster time frame than you would be able to normally. You won't have to play every single game. It'll simulate some for you. So that's a nice little feature to have. Now, the second mode is just a minimized version of the pennant mode. It's the Climax series, and the Climax series are the equivalent to the American playoffs. So it's basically just like their equivalent of like the World Series, where everybody has to, you get the 3 winning teams from each league, and you go try and get them to the top, more or less. It's the final stretch. So if you want to just play that instead of the entire damn pennant, you're more than welcome to. The third mode is the Star Player mode, and this is like the My Life mode in Power Pro Baseball 2016. It's slightly different though. There's no interacting with other people as far as I can tell, at least yet. I've only been through like 2 weeks of in-game time, but it doesn't seem like there's much in the way of that. These 2 menus here with the 1 player and the 3 players, these are just like statistical screens that you can go to check everyone else's records and stuff like that. You can see my records over there on the right so far. And if we hit up the play menu here, what it'll do is, it'll give us a training screen. And we do have fatigue as represented by that number there below the blue smiley face. Although it's not really a smiley face, it's more like a saddie face. And you can come here and spend points to train stuff. So if I were to pick some, say, what can I pick here? This one, no, it wasn't this one, was it? This one, here we are, so, no, it wasn't this one either. Basic idea is you earn these points by playing through games, and you can spend these points here in order to increase your stats, but this will also increase your fatigue, which is really bad to do if you're about to go into a game like this one. Except it's actually going to send me straight into the game, which I don't want to do because I want to go back and explain how Grand Prix mode works first. Thankfully, this simulates the entire game until you get to your player. Might as well show this off because this won't actually take too long, but the basic idea is, this is basically, yeah, it's the My Life mode where you play as a 1 character. The controls are a little bit different here, but they make enough sense in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, we basically just, we play as our player, more or less. And we can hit circle until we get to our point on bat. So at our point on bat, we can wait for him to throw it in. And I missed. Wait for him to throw it in again. Missed again. My swing timing is awful because I haven't played these games in a while. Also, I am playing on the basics. I'm playing on speed 1.0, aren't I? I'm used to playing on speed 0.8, but there we go. So I just hit the buttons to run for it, and see, I get little points there for getting on base and hitting the ball. I'd get less if I didn't, and we get to play from the point of view here when it gets pitched as well. Yep, and he's giving me the opportunity to run for it, which I massively fucked up there. I'm out, and I lose points for it. And at the end of the match, it'll right, I'm gonna quit here because you get the general idea. But at the end of the match, you'll add up all the points you got and add them to your point counter, which you can then use to continue training. You do also get the ability to rest, and the more expensive ones will give you the player skills, right? So it's pretty basic stuff. So let's go on to the fourth mode, which is actually my favorite mode of the entire game, which is Grand Prix mode. Now, Grand Prix is interesting. It doesn't go with any particular real-world Japanese baseball thing. It plays more like FIFA Ultimate Team. So the way it works is, well, you've got your options menu there. You've got your data, which you can use to come and check all the high scores and stuff like that. But the way it works is it's basically a card game. So if we come in here, we can buy a pack of cards using SC, which are, I don't know exactly what that stands for, but the idea is you can buy packs using in-game currency. There's no microtransactions in this game. You get it entirely via winning games, winning tournaments, and you get your cards here, and you can use them however you see fit. And there are a few different ways you can use them. And the more expensive packs are a lot more than likely to have better players, and, you know, yada 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 yada. You get the general idea. You can also buy item cards. Item cards are very useful because items can be used to improve certain stats in a game. And I'm going to be, you've already seen the main gameplay, so I'm going to be showing you how the manager side works. So, we'll get to that though. So, here you can see all the cards I own and the cards I can sell. I can sell this one for 400 SC. I can also sell all the items that I have if I want to. I don't know exactly what all these do, but you've got a little description of what's going on there and how good those items are, so you get the general idea. You can also turn certain cards into monetary benefits and better cards and stuff like that. So yeah, you've got the team screen here, which you can come to arrange your initial lineup. You can see my initial lineup of dudes here. These are all real players, by the way, all from real teams, and they've all got their own real stats. You can also set up your lineup of things like fielders and basemen and shortstops and all that. And as you can see, this guy here is really fucking good. He's got a ridiculous amount of good skills. He's fantastic at being a good batter, and he's also a good first baseman, which is actually nice, but he's mainly a right fielder. And as you can see, you basically just work through, build up your team with a certain set of star counts, and you can do that. You also have the ability to level up your manager. The more games you play as the manager, the more abilities you'll get, but you can also use your points to buy different sets of skills. And these different sets of skills are only usable when you're in the manager mode. So the skills go for certain amounts of different kinds of hits, and they're more likely to do them the higher level they are. And you've also got your general strategies, like wait for an opportunity, or go for broke, or yada yada yada. The translation doesn't really help me out that much here, because they're very short one-sentence things. You've also got manager skills, which I don't have because I don't have the money for them. And you can also change what your manager looks like and what his name is. So I am actually going to play the next game in manager mode, but here's the options you get here for playing games. So you've got Grand Prix, and Grand Prix is basically just a set of tournaments. You can see that some of the tournaments have specific things about them. So for example here, this tournament here, which is the second one on the bottom right in rank G, is you can't play with any players that are above a 49 star count. So you saw that I had a bunch of different players there and they all had different star counts, but I have a 85-ish star player, so I can't play while he's still in my team. These regular tournaments up here are just that. They're just regular tournaments against a regular amount of people, and a regular amount of teams, I should say. And if you win, you move up to the next rank and you unlock the special tournaments down here, and that's the basic loop of it. You can play as many tournaments as you like, and you will earn money for winning or losing, but you won't earn as much money for losing, obviously. You can also come here to practice, and practice means that you will play against just a regular team with no rules or anything, and if you win, you get some money for it. These are free to do at pretty much any time, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to play against a level 2 team, which is about on our level, and we can choose our playstyle here. So we can play as the full-on team, so if you don't want to play with the manager, so, you know, you don't have to worry about translating all the different abilities and stuff, you can play as the full-on team, but you won't get the benefits of the item cards, which is actually a little bit disappointing, but we can equip a bunch of cards here to help us out. There's a reason to go spend money on them because they're actually quite useful little benefits once you get them all down. Here's our initial lineup. I don't have a good first baseman, which really annoys me. I'd love to have a better first baseman, but I just don't have that many good first basemen. And he's obviously not in a very good mood either, which doesn't help me out very much at all. So let's, yeah, we'll grab this guy down here instead because our first baseman really needs to be replaced. First baseman is here. There we go. Unfortunately, this guy's better suited as a shortstop, but we'll work with it because, you know, these are the best players I've got, and I'm going up against a team that's roughly on my level, so I do kind of want to have my team be as good as possible. You do get little experience bonuses and stuff for letting people out on the field, and these cards do eventually level up, and you can also level up cards and players in the VP shop for money. So not for the SC credits you use to buy cards, but the VP money you get for doing everything in this game. So you want to, if you want to level up players so that they're good as you're going into the Pennant or the Climax Series or even Grand Prix, you can do that, which is a nice little thing to do. Gives you a little bit of extra options and stuff like that, but other than that, here we go. So this is the manager mode. You've got your options that you can use on the left stick there. You've also got the ability to hit start, the timeout, and swap out different characters and stuff like that. And if you hit square, you'll also get a much more in-depth tactics menu with a different set of shots and batter options and pitcher options. And you can also come down here to set the overall, I don't want to call it aggressiveness, but that's the general idea. You can tell them how aggressive you want them to be, more or less. It's not aggression, it's more like just, you know, play more dangerously or play less dangerously. But you get the general idea, right? So he's just going to throw that to there, and he's out again. I don't know how they got a guy to third base already. Oh, wait, no, this is... Is this me? No, I didn't pick the Nippon Ham Fighters. Come on, get him out. There we go. So yeah, this is basically it. You tell your pitcher and your batter what to do. Oh, I guess the one on the left is go for as many balls as possible. I think the one up top there is go for a strikeout, which is what I wanted to do because we were already at 2 outs. So yeah, games in this go on for 6 innings. I think there might be tournaments that eventually go on for longer, but you get the general idea. This is the mode you want to play if you're not that into the pennant side of things, but you want to enjoy, like, building a team and something like that. This is actually a really fun mode. Being able to harvest packs, and you've also got trade, which I didn't show off, which is if you've got a certain kind of card, you can trade it for another certain kind of card. That is absolutely out. Yep, no way that was happening. And as you can see, all the tactics change with the different players as well, which is kind of annoying. But you can also hit the one in the middle, which is literally just let the batter do what they think is best via their AI. Which, if you have like a level 85 batter, might actually be the thing to do. So let's just let's tell him to play it safe for a little bit, shall we? Nope, he failed massively. Let's actually get him to... Come on. Do your job, damn it. Okay, he got the walk, which was nice. Well, we got our second guy to the base, and we get to see a replay of that too. But yeah, overall, I really do like Pro Yakyu Spirits. I mean, especially this mode here. Like, I would love to see this mode in, I'd love to see this mode in, Powerful Pro Baseball. I'd love to see it in that mode, because it would make things really interesting. I love the sort of, like, card collecting mini games and stuff they got going on for this. So, I mean, like, if you can see a copy of Pro Yakyu Spirits and you have any interest in, like, baseball and card collecting games whatsoever, this would be the game to pick up, because as far as I'm aware, 2012 still has a pretty low price because it's not 2015. So, yeah, I mean, if you... Yes, you got a pass. Alright, yeah, and we're on the attack this time. We'll just go for a more aggressive stance on things, shall we? Yes! That's what I wanted. We get a run from that. At least I'm pretty sure we do. Yay! We got a run. Awesome. Yep, as I say, the Bay Stars is my favorite team. I don't know why. I just like the name. Unfortunately, as far as I'm aware, they don't actually do that well in the actual league, which is a little bit disappointing. But oh well. In this mode, to be fair, in pretty much any mode imaginable. Alright, let's go. I don't know what that said, but we'll do it anyway, so let's do it. Go for broke, big guy, go for broke. Damn it. Alright. So, I know what this ability down here does. This is literally a once per game ability where you can tell him to basically go all out. Didn't give me the best result, but at the same time it got me a run, and I'm not going to complain about getting a run. Be aggressive. Yes, that's another run for me. They've changed pitches, because apparently I'm just wiping the floor with them too much. We'll do that. Thankfully you get all the time you... Well, not all the time you need, but a fair amount of the time you need. Damn it. Right. Be aggressive, my 88 star man. Get a good hit. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, he just made it. He's a slow bastard, whoever he was. Might as well play it safe for a little while. I'm 5 runs ahead, which is just silly. But you know what, yeah, I think I'll call it there. We've been here for about 45 minutes. You've seen pretty much all the different styles of play. You can play manager style in the pennant if you want, but you don't get the item cards, which is certainly something. You can also save mid-match. I just don't know exactly what option does it in this menu, so that you can come back to it later, and you can save mid-match in everything, including star player mode and the pennant modes. I think, yeah. Oh, no. No, that didn't work. Whatever. I know the options are there somewhere, and again, spiritstranslation.com, best site for this, because you can get an absolute ton of info about how the menus work in this game. But yeah, I like it, and considering that you'll probably be able to get it cheap pre-owned if you can find a way to do that, I reckon that'd be worth your time. Or if you can find Pro Yakyu Spirits 2015 for like cheaper than $100, because seriously, that game goes for ridiculous prices on the Japanese secondhand shops. But yeah, there you go. Long live Yakyuu from Konami for some fucking reason. That makes no sense. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing Powerful Pro Baseball 2018, and this is a nice little tide over until we get that. So, this has been Blue Maxima. I will see you all next time.